If you're a solo mom trying to manage your time better, I'm going to save you a lot of frustration right now. You don't have a time management problem. You have a capacity problem. And most advice completely ignores that. Time management advice is built around optimizing time. But as a solo mom, you don't have extra time to optimize. There's no margin. There are constant interruptions and there are competing priorities. So when it doesn't work, you think you're the problem. You're not the problem. You are the solution. We just need a different strategy. So because the real issue really isn't time, it's capacity, the things that we have to consider as solo moms who are either CEOs of businesses or owners of our own businesses, or maybe getting ready to launch a new business, right? Mindset first. Why are you doing this? Why do you feel as though you must do this? For me, I felt like I didn't have a choice. I had a position that I was working in. I was working in radio at the time, but I had 4 kids and one with special needs. And so I had such a desire to raise my own children. I hated the idea of other people having more influence over my own children than I did. I also really struggled with my son's therapies and IEPs and the things that required my full attention to get him a foundation for communication. My son has autism. And so I was so deeply steeped in the world of autism and in the world of creating a program for him, which I did, a nonprofit organization that helped with verbal behavior therapies and speech therapy and things like that. I was so pulled and stretched in so many different directions. And maybe you can relate to this. There's so much that people don't know about us that they don't understand. The mental load is extreme because we're always thinking, we're always trying to be creative. We're always trying to come up with something that will work, right? That'll hit, that'll work. And that will give us more time and energy and freedom and some space. There's the emotional load. We carry things for our children just by nature. We're nurturers. And so if our child is struggling with something, we struggle. Our family member is struggling with something, we struggle. If our children's relationship with their father is strained or is non-existent for that matter, we take that on emotionally as well. We hurt for our kids. We hurt when they hurt. That's a huge component that I think most people overlook. There's decision fatigue. How many decisions do you make in a day? I mean, think about it. If you're a single mom, how many different decisions do you have to make on any given day? Forget the business, just related to running your own household, related to getting the bills paid, the laundry done, maintenance on whatever is broken next, right? The dishwasher is broken, needs to be fixed. You've got to spend time and energy making calls on that. Your kids have things going on. You've got to be present for all of that, right? Then take off that mom hat now, put on the business owner / CEO hat, and you've got another whole set of totally separate series of pressures and capacities that create decision fatigue. And you know what happens when we enter into decision fatigue? We get paralyzed. We get paralyzed into indecision because we're in crisis mode. The adrenaline and the cortisol are surging. We're in stress mode. We're in fight or flight mode. And when that happens, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's a very real thing that happens with the nervous system. You actually can't think straight, right? Have you ever been in a conversation or maybe even a conflict and you're in the moment and you're flustered and you're stressed and your heart rate is increased and you just in the moment, you're kind of fighting for survival? Then you leave the conversation or the conflict and all of the thoughts and the things that you wanted to say start downloading, right? I should have said this. I was going to say that. I wanted to say that. All of that happens because in those moments of conflict, we're in a different mindset. We're in fight or flight. So when you're stressed out there and you're stressed out here and there's stuff going on with your kids and you need to deal with, and there's stuff going on with the house and something is broken and the garage door doesn't work and so-and-so is not doing well in school. We can get to the point where our nervous system just says, I'm about tapped out. I'm good. And I don't care. I don't want to make any more decisions right now. And you fall accidentally into this sort of decision fatigue. That's a real thing that we have to consider in the overall baseline of creating a life that is workable, that allows for a little bit of margin, that allows for us to process decisions and not constantly be involved in the tyranny of someone else's urgent. Being sucked in to the tyranny of the urgent is one of the things that will keep us off track and focused more than anything else. The reality is, when you're a solo mom, you're not just managing a calendar. You're managing multiple lives by yourself. You're managing your life, and you're managing your children's life, and you're managing a household, and you're managing or running a business. So the point here is, it is going to require specific things. It's going to require specific mindset commitments and shifts, and it's going to require strategic planning on your day-to-day, from everything that has to happen in your household to everything that has to happen in your business, to how to ensure that you are present for your kids. What's one thing that suffers when we're scattered and stressed? Presence. We can't be present. If I could go back in time, there's so much I would change, honestly. I wish I had somebody like me mentoring me back 10 years ago or more. There are so many times that I can recall where I was with my children, but not with them. I could not find the present moment. I couldn't be there to actually listen. I was nodding my oh really? Yeah, oh honey, I was a mile away, a million miles away. And I don't want that. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for your kids. They deserve our presence. And by the way, the present moment is the only thing you don't get back. Time is unbearably valuable. You know this. It is the one thing in this lifetime we can't get back. You can make more money. You can be in other book clubs or spin classes, or you can't get back the time with your children. And this is why building something that has a foundation of structure is going to be imperative. And so I want to get into a couple of ways by which you can start doing that. You got to work on your mindset first. You've got to make decisions. And when you make decisions, this is what I'm going to do. I am launching this business, or I'm scaling this business. I'm going to give myself 3 months. I want to be here. This is my end goal. And what has to happen next is you have to have KPIs for yourself. You have to have key progress indicators. You've got to have key performance indicators. You've got to have systems in place for anything you are looking to manage. There has to be an SOP, or standard operating procedure, for every area of your life. And then you've got to get a calendar in front of you that does a couple of things. It lists your top 3 priorities for every single day, and it lists the actual steps forward you're willing and able to take in any given day. And you have to, at the beginning of every day, put each and every one of those things first, second, and third. Top priority for the day, second, third. Blocking out time for your physical strength, your physical exercise. You've got to stay healthy. So we're going to have to learn to block time throughout the course of the day. And one of the things I had to learn the hard way was to block out a margin for the unexpected. It's when we don't build out and realize and recognize margins for that we get so extremely frustrated, because we had this whole plan for the day, and then this happened and that happened, and we got called into a last minute emergency meeting that we didn't plan on, we don't even want to be at, and yet we're expected to be there. So we have to do this in a way that's systematic, that builds out a margin for the unexpected each day as well. That way, at the end of every day, you can measure the things that went right. Give yourself 3 wins. What did I do? That went well. I like how I handled that. Then we're going to write out, how can I do better tomorrow? What's one thing that I made a commitment to myself to do today that I didn't get done because I let somebody else's tyranny become my urgent? And how will I course correct for tomorrow? This is just very, very simple, easy strategy. But if you can start incorporating this into every area of your life, things are going to start shifting in a way that's going to lend you more creativity and more time. And if you're listening to this, by the way, and thinking, this is exactly how it feels for me, and I resonate with this, then you're exactly who I created this for. We have to get very clear. Doing more in life is not the goal. It's doing what matters that is the goal. It is doing what matters that is going to move the needle. So how do we ensure that we are spending time and energy on what actually matters? You often hear business owners say things like, focus on the money-making activity. What are the money-making activities? That's the focus. That's what you do. I'm using the term money metaphorically right now. What is the most important thing to you in this period of time? And what are the 3 action steps you can take daily to make sure it happens? Everything else is secondary. Everything else goes to the bottom of the list for the day. 3 needle movers each and every day. Money-making activities. Because remember, you can't rely on motivation when you're this stretched. My goal is to help you get to the place where you're not spinning in this feedback loop and feeling stuck and feeling overwhelmed, but that we can pull ourselves out of that and start moving forward in some very successful ways. That's exactly why I teach structure inside of Solo Boss Mom. I don't teach hustle. We don't do unrealistic, silly routines. We create real life systems and we focus on what matters most. If you're a solo mom building something bigger and you're tired of trying to manage time you don't actually have, this is exactly why I created Solo Boss Mom. It's where we build real structure that actually works for your life specifically. And tell me in the comments, what are 3 things that you can do today to move the needle forward for you in your business and your life? 3 action steps that you can take today. I'd love to comment on it. I'd love to be able to encourage you in it. So much love to you, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.